life is going to be a roller coaster. So just get used to it. It's going to be up and it's going to go down because it's going to be the yin and the yang. The trick is to hang into the roller coaster. So
Right,
you
right.
get through the curves, and then it smooths out a little. Okay. Oh no, this is fun now. Oh, but wait, but hang in there.
Yeah, don't let yourself just like dangle off the side,
Yeah,
afraid
don't
afraid
dangle
of
off
what's
this.
going on.
Yeah, because you can't change the ride. The ride's going to be the ride, and you don't know what that next turn is. It's going to
So
be what it's going to be.
what were some of your downs? Hi friends, welcome back to Really Famous. So you may think you know Joe Mantegna, but do you really know him? You will after this. And wait till you hear what he says about his ups and downs. I saw you on Barry last night.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. That was a lot of fun. You don't often get to play yourself, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was a great little bit. So, are you like friends with Henry in real life or anything, or was that just a kind of a
No,
random?
no. Did you see both episodes or just the one?
Yeah, I saw both. The first one where you
Oh,
show
great.
up when he's looking for
And
luggage.
then the dinner. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'd met Henry before. I mean, I knew him. I didn't know Bill Hader before. So it came out of the blue, the invite to do the show, but it was great. I mean, Henry. I mean, really, you look up the word mensch in the dictionary. Should be a picture of Henry Winkler. I mean, he's just a beautiful human being. I've met him on and off. It's the first time we've worked together, but I've met him on and off over the years. And Bill was great too. And that was a real pleasure to work on that show.
Yeah, it was a funny storyline too. I don't know who came up with that. Probably Bill, right?
I don't know. I didn't ask, but it was yeah. I thought it was pretty good. Having a what do they call it? We had a restraining order on each other. That was pretty good. I think it starts with that, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So,
Yeah,
where are you now? You home? Is this an office you're
I'm
in?
at home. This is my home office. I'm uh I'm off today from Criminal Minds, but I directed an episode. The last episode. We're shooting episode 4 now, but I directed episode 3, so I'm editing that now. And nowadays, with the whole COVID thing, you do all your editing on the computer with the editor. There's this program that you may be familiar with, the PAX something or whatever it is, and you get on, and it's it's pretty good. I mean, it's next best thing to sitting in a room next, right next to you, or he or she right next to you, which I'm more used to. But this worked out. This has been working out pretty good.
Yeah, I guess that's good. I mean, it's better than you were in person. What did it take a week to shoot that episode last week?
Eight shooting days is what it
Eight
is.
days. So I guess
Mm-hmm.
you get to be with everybody then. So it's not like you're totally isolated, right? You're acting in it, you're
Oh
directing it.
yeah, no. You're that's all. You're there live, but the editing process. I mean, the editor could be in Europe as far as that goes because it's all
Yeah.
done. He's got the footage. He we can look at stuff together in real time, where he just puts up a different scene, and that's kind of what you do when you're in the editing room anyway with the editor. But you're
So
right there sitting with each other.
you just point out or like you say, all right, let's go back to this and do whatever. You don't have to actually key in anything or get to the
No, I have.
spot.
He does everything. That's what I mean. He has it all keyed up, and I'll just say, I have my notes. I'll have already seen the episode, and then I'll say, okay, go to this scene, up, and he pulls it up, and then we both look at it at the same time, and then he'll show me the different cuts, like what other takes do we have for that scene, and he'll show them. So it's actually it's pretty convenient. But that's what you would do anyway. But you'd be doing it live in the room with the person. And now this
Right.
person could be anywhere in the world, and it's actually made it a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
You
all things being equal, I'd rather be in the room with the person. So you got that chemistry, just like But it's pretty good. It's you're seeing it just like now. It's like a zoom. It'd be like if this black part at the top of where our heads are, we're able to look at the scenes and stuff and talk about it.
right. So what are you seeing now? Are you seeing mostly me or do you see like am I above you or something? How does it look to you?
We're next to each other. We're
Oh,
you're on one side of the computer. I'm on the other. At least
okay.
I don't ever want to touch anything because I'm afraid if I do, you'll disappear and then that'll be that.
Well, who
or
who
I'll
set it
disappear.
up for you? Did you set it up yourself?
No, I set it up. The link came and I hit the link and and I at least know how to do all that.
Yeah, when I send the link, I'm always like, sometimes it'll copy a password and all this other stuff. I'm like, nobody needs all that. Just send the link.
No,
It looks
yeah,
live. It's
no,
easy to click on it.
no, it worked out
Yeah.
good.
So how's life treating you in LA? I want to know because we talked before. Do you remember?
I do. I knew we did. It was a while ago. Yeah, no, this is all good. Well, I live out here. I mean, and it's bizarre. I mean, because you show up at the same studio that we shot it before, and they've rebuilt everything almost identical, but yet different enough that I noticed the difference. It's like, oh, this room's a little bigger. That the cabinets are now this. That I have a fridge in my office now. It's interesting, but it's the same but different, but
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And I read that you said like it was a no-brainer. Come on, why wouldn't you do a new season? Because hello.
Yeah, look, especially, I mean, I made a conscious choice to go into series, hopefully successful series television some years ago, about 15 years ago. Because look, I've been very blessed. I've had, a career that I'm very happy with in the sense of theater, film, television, books on tape, whatever. Runs the gamut. Done some directing now. Um, but the thing was, I came to a point, especially with my personal life, with my children. As my oldest daughter has autism, so it was like it worked out well because we would always travel together. We'd always because I didn't care about what they were missing in school. I mean, the hell with that. They'll learn the capital of Indiana some other day.
Truth.
So we would go. So I've taken them. They've been all over Europe, Russia, Australia, Canada. Everywhere we went, the four of us, my wife and I, and my two kids. But there came a time as they got older, it's still different. You take a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old on a trip, or even a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old on a trip. But when they're teenagers and beyond, it's not always, it's not always in their best interest either. To just say, let's go with dad for the next 2-3 weeks to Toronto or wherever it may be. So that's when I said to myself, my lifestyle, I've got to change it a little bit. And because I, I didn't want to be that dad in show business that was like, okay, daddy's going away for a month. I'll see you, good luck and send me pictures. So that led to me doing Criminal Minds. And I did that for 13 years. And I'm doing it again. And I don't think I can do it for another 13 years just because, uh,
Yeah. Well, it's all.
genealogy will damage that.
Somebody
But it's
tells me
all
you have
good.
good genealogy, though.
I do. My mother lived to be 101.
101. That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, she did. And what was interesting is I don't think she really knew what I did for a living, because which was good. She never quite understood show business and all that. My dad
What do you
passed her.
mean? How could she not know?
Well, because she didn't quite get it and didn't care, and it was fine. Like in other words, like she'd come and see the stuff. Like if I was in a play, she'd come see the play and she'd like it, but she didn't really understand what was going on, like what the business end of it was. I'll give you the best example was when she passed away at 101. I'm at the funeral in Chicago with obviously the family and everybody. And I have a brother who's 8 years older than I am. And my brother got up to speak first. And he said, I don't, Joey doesn't even know this, but our mother called him when I got the series Criminal Minds. And she calls my brother Ronnie and goes, Ronnie, I'm worried about Joey. And my brother goes, why? And she says, he's only working an hour a week. Because she would see me do stuff where
Right,
people would
right.
tell her. So if I was in a movie, she'd go see the movie, but she just assumed, well, I'm doing this. I must be filming this and still doing stuff. But the TV series, they're telling her go on Wednesdays at 9 o'clock, turn on CBS, you'll see Joey. In her mind, it was like he's working from 9 to 10 every Wednesday. It's not good. Maybe I should send him $20. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
and like when I won the Tony Award back in '84, I called her to say, hey, Ma, you want to, I'll fly into New York to see the play in New York. Well, are you going to do it in Chicago? I said, well, eventually, yeah, we could probably do a tour, which we did. national tour. She said, "Ah, I'll see it here with your Aunt Lolly, her sister, you know." And the Tony Award, she has no concept what that was. She would tell people, Joey won the Oscars for the plays," was the way she described it. So for me, that was beautiful. That was wonderful. To me, that in a way, it kind of, hopefully, it grounds me in what I do in this business, in the sense of I take my work very seriously, but I don't take the business very seriously at all, because it's a business. It's great, but it's, it is what it is. My mother didn't even understand what I did. How could I get too wound up about it?
Right. Did you at some point take it more seriously and then realize I can't look at it like this? I really have to change.
I don't think so. I don't think I ever took things I think that's a problem. I mean, I think I don't want to say problem, but like there are some actors who are driven and who can, I mean, create industries. I mean, they develop things. They buy the rights to books. They do this. That. I'm doing more of that now, but I'm in my 70s. I mean, it's not like I've been doing this all my life. So, but I always was like, no, if I had an audition, I kind of prepare for it and I go in and I do it. But I mean, I I never was so driven that I thought, I mean, maybe subconsciously I always felt like I think I got something to offer here. I mean, because starting in high school doing plays and junior college and then getting cast in a few things in theater and then beyond that, it seemed like, okay, as long as they're still hiring me, I guess things are okay. But I was never so driven to like, create this, okay, now let's create this empire. Um, no, I mean, I didn't. In a way, I thought if I got in that deep, I might not like it as much as I do, because I really still really do like
Right.
what I do for a living.
It's very interesting because you are so prolific and you have done so many different types of things, all the different platforms, including theater. And I mean, you're directing, you're doing the Lenny Bruce show, right? You've got that
Right?
too.
Yeah. But
You,
they ask in all those instances, somebody comes, either I got cast in something, or they ask, like in the Lenny thing. I knew this. I'd worked with the Ronnie Marmo, who created it and stars in it. And he comes to me with says, "Would you be interested in directing me in this thing on Lenny Bruce?" And I said, "Well, let's see what you got." He did it as a monologue, and I really liked what he did. I said, "Yeah, I've got the time, whenever it was, 5 years ago." So yeah, let's do it. And we did it.
that's
So,
interesting. I mean,
yeah,
do you think that to have so many of these things and people come to you, like that can't be that common? It's probably because of how you are to work with, and what I mean, and your own
they'd have to
experience too.
answer
Like,
that. Yeah, I mean, they'd have to answer that question. But my feeling is, look, I try to make it. I don't want it to ever lose the fun or the excitement and the blessings that of what we do. I do for a living what people dream of.
sure,
It's a pretend job. You know what I mean? And I mean, one of the best lines I heard was, the best occupations in the world are probably to be a rock musician, a star athlete, an astronaut, or a very successful actor. But the actor is the best because you can play the other three.
sure.
And so there's that. And I never forget that. And I'm thinking, look, I'm going to be 75 years old. I've been doing this professionally since 1969. And I've never looked like over my shoulder to say, oh God, what am I doing here? I hate this, and maybe I should do something else. Even when it was not making any money, and it was a struggle in terms of that. I always had a side thing. I was a photographer. I took headshots for people as a way to make money to pay the rent. My wife and I've been together. We've been together over 50 years together. So
Hmm.
it's like, but we've always had a good time. And the other thing that I think is important, I don't enjoy it any more now than I did when I did it in high school. In other words, the enjoyment factor is exactly the same. Yeah, I get paid
Yeah,
a considerable more. I got paid nothing in high school,
yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
I make a very good living at it now. But it's not proportionate to the joy I have doing it. I had just as much fun doing my first play in high school as I do doing Criminal Minds, or when I worked on Broadway, or when I worked with Coppola or Barry Levinson or Woody Allen. Or it's all the same to me. I enjoy it all. It's just, it's different. Each one is its own thing, and you take it for what it is. And I feel very blessed to have been able to do it.
Yeah. So I think also you must not be an anxious person by nature.
I don't think so by nature. No, I don't think I am actually. I think I mean, everybody has their moments,
Yeah.
obviously. But my, see, and again, hopefully I got that from my mother, because she was like, the reason she lived to be 101 is because most anything in life was like, you know, she never took anything too seriously. She didn't die sick. She died at 101 because she just stopped. And the doctors even told us that when they'd give her the, yearly physicals, they'd say, your mother, we don't know how long she's going to live, but the point is, she, anything can happen, because this is like when she was like 90. She had a hip replacement at 92. So
That's
they said,
big too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But they said, and the reason they did it to her is because they said she can handle it. They said
Mm-hmm.
normally we wouldn't do a hip replacement on a woman that old, but she's like, and that was my mother. So I mean, I think luckily she got some really good genetics. I remember when she was in her 60s, late 60s, she fell down, she tripped on something and chipped a tooth. And I took her to the dentist. And then when the dentist, fixed her tooth, he said to me, "How old is your mother?" And I said, "I think she was like 69, 70 at the time." He goes, "I've only seen this like one other time in my profession. She's got every single one of her teeth, and she does not have one cavity, no fillings, no nothing. She's got the mouth of some, she's got her teeth, and those are her teeth. And she never had a problem with not one of them in her life." And I'm thinking, oh, well, whatever,
That's
like I said, you get the luck of the
right.
chromosomes.
So you do, I mean, you do have to kind of think some of it, a good part of it has to do with her attitude in life.
Absolutely.
But I wonder what
Absolutely.
her, do you know about your other relatives from her, her line in terms of did they all live long like this and were they all so healthy?
Well, what's funny is she had like, she came from like a family of 8, and she was the oldest, and she's the last one to pass away. So she was the oldest but died last. So they all lived pretty good, lives. But she had something else little going on top of it, I guess.
Yeah.
you know. But then my father's side, there was a whole other ballgame. The Sicilian side, they were a little more. That's why I did have some cavities, and I did have some, I did have some issues in my life. I'm in no way gonna, I don't think I'm gonna hit 101, but whatever. If I
Yeah.
do, I do. But I think, I only got half her chromosomes.
Yeah. Well, maybe you got a little bit more than half. Who knows?
Yeah, whatever, whatever. The
Yeah.
point is, that's what her attitude was like. Look, she never took anything quite too seriously. I mean, stress will kill you before anything, I think.
Right. Right.
And that's one thing she kept out of her life. So
I have to say, my dad is turning 90 in November, and my
great.
mom is turning 80. And they're both like, I mean, just super young people at heart. And my dad has been through so many things. He's had all kinds of cancers. And my mom always says, but his attitude is so good. He doesn't take it too seriously. I mean, he does take it seriously. He sees all the best doctors and all of that,
Right.
but he doesn't, he just takes it in stride and he
Well,
keeps
that's,
going and he laughs throughout. He'll be waiting to go into some kind of surgery or something and he'll be making jokes, and it's
yeah. And I'm
important.
sure those same issues that your father has had would have probably been fatal to anybody else without that attitude. They're
I
going, "Oh my
agree.
God, I got cancer. Oh my God." Da, 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 da. Absolutely that. What November, what's his birthday?
November 3rd.
Okay. Mine's the 13th. That's the only reason I asked.
Oh, very nice, very
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
So the 13th, yeah, and the 3rd. But I have to say also, looking back at my dad's lineage, like all of his relatives lived until they were really old. So I don't know, there's some of that, but then I think there's also that attitude thing, and you combine them and it's like gold.
Exactly right. Exactly right. That if you have both those things, you have a lot going for you.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, stress will, you can be the most healthiest person in the world physically, but if you carry that stress and anxiety and all that like with you, that eats you up.
So do you think you passed that on to your daughters? It's Mia and Gia, right?
Right. I hope so. Like I said, my daughter Mia, the one with the autism, I mean, she has her own. Yeah, I mean, God bless her. it's such a unique kind of condition, that autism, in the sense that, which, she's savant in many ways, but in many ways, she's 35 years old, but and there's certain things she can do, and her art is really wonderful. She's like a computer about certain things. But then on the other hand, if you ask her what she would really like to do on the weekend, would be to go to Disneyland to see the princesses, you know. So I mean, it's that yin and the yang of the
Mm-hmm.
childlike thing to somebody who's operating on a level that we can't even comprehend.
Right.
So but she's in a good place. She's a happy kid. She's very social. She doesn't have a lot of the autistic tendencies of like being antisocial or being afraid of, you know what I mean? She's very engaging. And
Yeah.
that's good.
That's a
And
gift,
Gia,
really, I think.
yeah, that is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And Gia is great too. Gia is like, she reminds us of my mother a lot in many ways. Uh, but I think hopefully, like I said, maybe part of it is just the fact that my wife and I've been together so long. That's one. I mean, we certainly know enough families that have been, you know, are disrupted, because of divorce, because of whatever,
Mm-hmm.
death, whatever. So I mean, to have parents around us for the whole 9 yards up to now, I would like to think that's helpful too. I mean,
Yeah, I'm sure that's helpful, but
it's a
also
stability.
it's stability. But at the same time, however, probably what's even more important is how you relate to each other, like how you and your wife relate to each other in front of them,
Yeah.
or even not in front of them, but they just pick up on that
Oh
vibe.
yeah, and they get it. Hey, look, and I'm Italian. There have been the moments where they'll say, no, no, they're not arguing. He's just Italian, and he gets loud. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, no, they get it, and I think they do understand that the family really does come first. I mean, for the four of us, and Gia has been wonderful in the sense that she's the younger sister, but she knows she's the older
Mm-hmm.
sister. She's gonna have to be, if everything goes according to logic, she's going to have to, take on that somewhat of that responsibility. Yeah, we don't want her to feel like, hey, look, this is you got to be 24/7. This is going to be your thing to look out for your sister. But on the other hand, she gets it
Yeah.
that there is a responsibility there, and she's up for the challenge.
Yeah. So has she kind of always been helpful or like been in that way, almost like a third parent to her?
Yeah, absolutely. But yet, always been her sister too. Like I think she was always harder on her than we were initially, because especially when Mia was young, and like when Mia was, let's say Mia's 8 years old and Gia's 5 years old. Mia would do things, and we were always aware of the autism aspect of her behavior and things. Where the 5-year-old sister is not going to put up with that shit. Is going to say, Mia, da, 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 you know what I mean? And,
Right.
and that's a good thing, because she would, and then because sometimes we'd realize, yeah, you know what, Mia, it's not due to the autism that Mia is doing this certain thing. She's just as what an 8-year-old does, and Gia is calling her on it, and we got to let that
Right.
go. You
Right.
know what
Like
I mean?
holding her accountable for the things that she can control.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. And then you all live near each other, right? In LA or no?
Well, Mia lives with us. I mean,
Yeah, right. And
and
she is
and
nearby?
she is, yeah, 10 minutes away. She's got her own place, but she's 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Like I was the kind of, maybe being Italian, I was the kind of dad who they were getting like, if they were going to go like college age. I said, well, why go to college? I'll build one upstairs. You could go to stay in the house. I mean, I wasn't serious, but that's kind of like my attitude toward things. It's like, hey, whatever it takes,
And what
you
about
know.
the extended family? Like, do you have an extended family? I think I saw you. Did you post something on Twitter the other day? Do you have an aunt who turned 90
Oh
something?
no, that's our dear friend Polana Cuccinello's mother, Rose. She turned 99, and yeah, we all had this little dinner for her at this golf club that her and her grandson were members of, and just that's our extended family, because my family's and my wife's family are all rooted in Chicago. Well, we've lived in Los Angeles since 1978, so we have this extended family here of friends that are as close as family are. And like and I have a lot of family in Italy, and even the times I've gone to Italy, we've taken some of the same woman that Polana's Cuccinello I'm talking about, her mother, the one who's turned 99. Her and her husband, a couple times we took them with us to Italy when I was working doing movies over there to just be, to hang with us because they were like family. They are like family as they're
Yeah.
so I'm close to their kids call me Uncle Joe and not just them. There's all that continues with a whole bunch of people. So whenever we have birthdays here and or holidays, and my wife is like Pearl Mesta. I mean, Christmas time or holidays, our house was always like, you know, it's ground zero. She at a heartbeat, Arlene will throw a party for 100 people or 50 people or 30 people or dinner and whatever. And so over these 40 plus years we've been out here, it's created this whole extended family without question.
Yeah, it's all about that, right? Isn't it all about the people in your life more than anything?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, because that's who you fall back on. And I've lost a couple very close friends this year. Uh, and it really, that really makes you aware of how, precious it all is and valuable it all is. You know.
I think I saw you comment. I think you were going, was Paul Sorvino one of them, or am I just making that
Paul
up?
Sorvino, no, I spoke at his thing. Paul Sorvino was one. Gene Smart's husband, Richard Gilliland,
Yeah.
I was the best man at their wedding.
Oh,
And he was one of my oldest friends in the world. We did Godspell together in 1972. I was Judas, he was Jesus, and we've been close friends ever since. And he just passed away a little over a year ago. Another dear friend of mine, Steve Cucino, Paulana's husband, he passed away a little over a year ago. Those two men, especially, like I knew Paul, like I said, I spoke at his memorial service because I knew Paul. But these other guys were like, Paul I would see infrequently. These other two guys I basically saw weekly for the
yeah.
last 40 years. I mean,
Oh,
or you take mutual vacations and stuff. So those are the things that are somewhat humbling and wake up calls to like, you know, every day is precious and enjoy the life you have and the people around you while you can while you're able to do that.
yeah. I mean, that's definitely is a wake up call for sure. But it's hard. I mean, after you want to go talk to them, I'm sure you want to like pick up the phone or say, "Let's go. I want to tell you about this one thing."
Oh yeah, and especially with those two of them who I was so close to, and they both died within like 6 months of each other, and unexpectedly. It would have been different if it even had been like, okay, so and so's got this thing. We got to think that maybe they got a year to go, 2 years. No, in both instances, it was like you get that phone call saying, bang, so and so had a heart attack. Bang, so and so, in the hospital with, what was it? What? And they both died within like, you know, they were only in the hospital like 4 or 5 days and they passed away.
Right. And
Totally
I guess
unexpected.
in a way, it's better for them that it happened so quickly, right? I guess you could say that. Or in a way, it's not maybe because they didn't have a chance to do or say, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those, those are those times when you say to yourself, look, we're all going, we're all taking the same ride, different versions of it. But so you live your life and it's going to play out the way it's going to play out. And the motto I live by is everybody has a story and nobody gets a free ride. You know, so I don't care who you are. There is a human being that says, I've lived all my life and every day was perfect. And I really have nothing more to say, but it was all perfect. No problems, never.
Yeah. It's not like
That's
why me or whatever. This is what happens, right? Life happens and it does happen to everybody. There's not a person, they say what the two sure things are death and taxes, but also just problems. Days that aren't
yeah.
so good.
It's funny you mentioned it because I was just watching the rerun of 60 Minutes, the new 60 Minutes, and they were interviewing Joe Biden. And Biden in his office has this cartoon, and it was from it was like a cartoon of it was just two panels that I guess he said his father had given him or somebody had given him this gift, and the panel was like this caveman was screaming up, or maybe it wasn't a caveman, it was like I don't know, somebody like in biblical times screaming up, God, why me? And then just the next panel was God answering, why not you? You know what I mean? It really boils down to that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I think it is perspective, right? And understanding, not feeling sorry for yourself and understanding all the good that you get too, right? But that
Yeah,
is just part of life. I think about also how, because you mentioned, I think about Jean Smart and how bittersweet the whole, she's having so much success now with hacks.
Oh, unbelievable. Like, I mean, and we're very, very close. I mean, like, her 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 sons had dinner at our house the night she won the Emmy this year, just last week. We all watched it together. Uh, but yeah, there you go. Talk about the yin and the yang. I mean, her career couldn't be in a better place. But yet, I know she carries that grief with her really strong because they were
Yeah.
together a long time, over 30 years. But that's why I try to tend. I don't think of myself as a religious person, but I like to think of myself as somewhat spiritual in the sense that I believe in something's going on out there. There's something behind something, but there's not one answer to it. I mean, it's like that whole thing of like maybe that the truth of it lies at the top of the mountain, but there's a million different paths to get there, whether you're Catholic, Jewish, Buddhist, whatever it may be, Muslim. You're all trying to get to the same spot. We're all just taking a different way to get there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you try to find whatever works for you, whatever's best. And so I like some of the Eastern kind of philosophy, thinking of that, you know, life is going to be a roller coaster. So just get used to it, as opposed to, oh, if things are going bad, then no, this is terrible. It's maybe you've been sinful and maybe you should, you know what I mean? That thing, as opposed to look, because it's going to be your up and it's going to go down because it's going to be the yin and the yang. The trick is to hang into the roller coaster. So
Right,
you get
right.
through the curves, and then it smooths out a little. Okay. Oh no, this is fun now. Oh, but wait, but hang in there, you know.
Yeah, don't let yourself just like dangle off the side,
Yeah, don't
afraid
dangle
of
off
what's
this.
going on.
Yeah, because you can't change the ride. The ride's going to be the ride, and you don't know what that next turn is. It's going to
So
be what it's going to be.
what were some of your downs?
Oh, we all, that's what I mean by everybody has a story. Look, okay, if all things being equal, would I have chosen for my daughter to have autism as opposed to not? No, you know, because you feel like, you know, she should have had that opportunity to experience a life of at least total independence, if nothing else, because it seems like she's going to always have to be dependent on somebody to
Hmm.
watch out for her because she's severe enough with the autism that she just can't totally be dependent. But that's okay. Those are the cards we were dealt, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
take those cards. So, but that's something that you say to yourself, yeah, if I could change, that I would change that. But that's okay. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
there's that whole thing of like, I felt bad because I lost my shoes until I met the guy with no feet. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So there's that. And if nothing else, it, having a special needs child, if nothing else, gives you that whole compassion that you may never have gotten for other people with
Mm,
afflictions. You know what I mean? You get it. You know,
right.
and we learned a lot from that. We could continually learn from that. You know, um, but for the most part, for me to say, oh, what were the down things? I always feel like, oh, please. I mean, my down things are probably would be somebody else's dream. I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, when I lost that part on such and such or something. It's like what, you know, or
Luxury problems.
yeah, exactly. Some of my problems are other people's dreams. So no, I got no complaints.
What about the ups? What were some of the ups?
It's all most of it is an up. I mean, it really is. I mean, look here, I'm talking to you. The fact that you represent something that has an interest, you even care what the hell I have to say. So I mean, the ups are, for the most part, we've had, we've had a, knock on wood, a fairly, we've all been healthy. Even with my daughter's condition, she's strong as a horse, though, physically. And so, and that could have gone south because when she was born, she was born at 1 pound 13 ounces.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was one of the smallest babies born in California that year. And in fact, she was born on the night I was throwing the bachelor party for Richard and Jean Smart because I was their best man. And I had to call Richard and say, I can't be at the bachelor party. Arlene's giving birth because it was totally unexpected. She gave birth at 28 weeks instead of the normal 40 or whatever it is. So she was in intensive care for like 3 months as a baby as big as a squirrel. And at any moment that could have gone south.
Mm.
and for a lot of reasons. And I saw babies die around her in the neonatal intensive care unit that were bigger, stronger, but had these complications with their lungs, with their whatever. Some were blind because they had to give them too much oxygen. This was 1987. But she got through all of that. The one bullet she didn't dodge, and we're not saying for sure that was the prematurity that caused it, was the autism. But there is a higher incidence because not as many girls, first of all, get autism than the boys. So maybe that has something to do with it. But so what? It is what it is. But that was a trying time. I
Uh-huh.
mean, to have to go to visit your child in the hospital every day for 3 months, who's in this little incubator that's like space age, and she's got tubes and all stuck in her. Maybe that's why she is so strong physically, because she's weathered all of that in her life.
Yeah.
So I mean, but outside of that, for me to say what are the downs or what are the ups. So the ups are because she did pull through that turned into an up story, and she's great. She's in the next room right now doing this. She
Yeah.
does a thing every Monday through Friday with this. It's actually this Jewish group called EDA. They do this thing on the computer where they play games, they do sing songs, they watch movies. It's fantastic. It's like a you know organization for special needs people. So, but the ups, everything's an up. I mean, like I said, uh, an average day for me is still somebody's dream day. I live in a beautiful place. I have a beach house on the ocean. I mean, the
Where's
fuck?
your
I
beach
mean,
house?
it's in Ventura County. It's right on the Pacific Ocean, right on the sand. That's where
And it's if it's in Ventura County, does that mean it's less crowded too? It's like you have a little more space to
Oh
breathe.
yeah, oh yeah, totally. And because the section of beach that we're on, it's still public beach, but that particular area, there's no facilities, so there's no restrooms, there's no lifeguards, there's no nothing. So people tend to go even on the holidays or even not on holidays. They tend to go where those facilities are, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
But there are sections. I mean, the coastline is pretty big in California, so there are sections where you have houses up in there. It's just pretty. I stop looking out at the Channel Islands, and the next thing out there is probably Hawaii and then Japan. That's my view.
Yeah. So, what do
So
you think about when you look out at the water? So, I mean, I know what I think about when I look out the sea. It's not always the same thing, but when you look out at that view and you look out, what do you see?
yeah,
What do you think about?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question, but I think it's just such a calming thing that I think what's good about it is I don't think about much. In other words, I don't really dwell on anything as opposed to, wow, this is all right. That's why even I'm not that crazy. Like when people often say, well, so man, I live for vacations or going and travel. I've traveled so much in my life that my feelings going to the house in Ventura is as much a vacation as I need, because it's like it's so different from my daily what I normally have to do. Because what I do is time consuming and very occupied. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I was editing my episode before I got on with you here. When we finish, I'll go back to that. Then I have to go over to my office where my assistant is, and I'll have to cut a video for Gary Sinise Foundation because I'm an ambassador for Gary, because they have a big thing that's coming up in October. So I mean, there's always, I've got a schedule. I got a lot of things I'm responsible for, and it's okay. And like I said, these are kinds of things that other people might go, wow, I
Right.
bet that would be fun. I'd like to be there when you do that. And for me, it's like, oh, I didn't look at it that way.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's
But again, it's that yin and yang and it's that up and down, right? So you're super busy when you're at home, you're doing all these, it's a full life and it's a gift that it's a full life, but it is full. And then you're
yeah,
able to take that other, maybe it's not up and down or whatever on the roller coaster, side to side with going to the beach house. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, different.
yeah. To me, the down times for me are when I'm doing nothing, when I'm bored. I mean, maybe that's why I'm still doing a TV series in my
Yeah.
mid 70s, because I have other friends like my dear friend Dennis Franz, who we've been friends forever. You remember him from NYPD Blue?
Sure.
He won every Emmy in the world. When that show closed, which is over 10 years ago now, see you later. And Dennis was perfect with that. And I get it, but we're different personalities, but we love each other. We're like brothers. But he was a Vietnam vet, a combat vet. I mean, my father died when I was like 23 years old. So my mother lived with her parents and then alone for a long time in this town called Bellwood, Illinois. And Dennis's parents lived there too. And they were German immigrants from Germany. I mean, they
Oh,
spoke
how
with a heavy
weird.
German accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. His real his real last name is Schlachter. Franz is his father's name, Franz
Oh,
Schlachter.
okay.
But anyway,
Oh,
so I
that's
knew him.
interesting.
Yeah, but I knew his family really well and I knew his parents really well. But so we would go out and visit my mother, then we'd go over to his parents' house and visit his parents back when we worked together with the Organic Theater in Chicago back in the mid 70s. But all I'm saying is that Dennis is now he's somebody who's when he walked away on that last day of NYPD Blue and said, "Thank you. I love show business. It's been very, very good to me. I'm out." And he's great. I mean, he golfs. He has grandchildren. He lives in a beautiful thing on a lake, and I get it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. By the second day, I'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
how much golf can you play?"
Well, you've got to know yourself so that you can
Yeah,
give yourself what you need.
of course, of
So
course,
what do
and I
you do?
think
Do you
that's
sometimes get bored occasionally? Like, do you find
yeah.
yourself, and what, like, when is that, and what do you do?
It's those times if I didn't have to do something right after we get off this
Yeah.
Zoom, and I thought to myself, "Well, wait a minute, I really don't have anything I have to do till tomorrow." That would give me a little anxiety because I would say to myself, "Now wait a minute, there must be something I should be doing or could be doing." But if I can't think of it, and if I'm, or let's say I'm not in the mood to maybe, because obviously there's always things like you say, "Oh, someday I should whether it's clean out my office or something."
Ugh.
But unless you could come up with that, then I'm kind of like in a pickle. I'm like, "Oh, what's it? Okay, all right, I gotta, okay, all right, I gotta kill 4 hours. The hell am I gonna do for 4 hours?" So I mean
I get it.
that's my curse, you know. And so maybe some people say that's being a workaholic. Maybe it is, but it's not so much that it's got to be work. It's just got to be activity. It's got to be something. Time is the most valuable asset we have as the older you get.
Hmm.
And so I want to be able to just occupy that time, in some way, as opposed to just twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah, but I also think it's not just some way. Like, you want to occupy it in a way that you feel some passion for, which is why you don't want to
Yeah,
just do those projects.
exactly. That's right. That's true. That's right. You almost you're almost wishing for somebody to be able to just call you and say, "Hey, can you do this for me, or can you help me?" Oh, yeah, okay. Let's no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
what I know what I'm doing for the next 4 hours. You know. So yeah. So I guess it is that. Um, but that doesn't happen all that often, especially now
Right.
that we're in production with the show. I mean, COVID kind of put that kibosh on everybody, and I think it made everybody a little more patient and a little more okay, circle the wagons. You got to, in a way, that was a good thing. I think it brought a lot of families more together. Uh, Priorities got shifted.
Hmm. I
So I
don't know. For
mean,
me, I feel like it kind of made me a little more restless. Like, I mean, I've been out in the world for a while now, even
right,
since, just since I guess it was the first set of vaccinations that made a big difference where I felt like, okay, now I can get back to in person interviews and seeing people again. So
right,
I've been doing things since then, traveling the whole thing. But I do feel like it's set in some sort of restlessness where I feel even more like my time is valuable and I want to go see people and I want to be doing things with that time,
yeah.
not just
I think
twiddling my thumbs.
I think it has done that. Yeah. Did you get COVID yourself? See, we
Knock
all
on
did.
wood.
No, I
Never.
know. No, we all got it, and but just not that long ago, July. But so we were dodging that bullet for a long time. But all
Yeah.
I can say is I don't know how it is in New York, but here this new one is got pretty rampant. I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
know
was
more people that have had it now than have not.
definitely. I was in LA in the middle of July, and it was every single person I feel like had it in July in LA. And
Yeah,
I came
yeah,
back and I
we
couldn't
did
believe, yeah, I couldn't believe I didn't get it. I just got the new booster
the
shot a couple
booster,
days ago.
Right. Yeah,
So,
and I can't even get the booster because for that reason, the
right.
doctor said, no, you've already got the COVID. You're good for like 3 months, then get the booster.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, and so it was like, but we have to test like crazy to do the show anyway. I mean, I got a stack of behind me. I got a stack this high of COVID tests that we have to do every other day. And
Yeah, yeah.
but fortunately, you know, in a way, it was good that I got it right before we went into production because
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just at the right time, right? It was like when I was talking to Jim Burrows last week, he got it right before they went away to Europe for a month. They had this big trip, and it was like he and his wife Deb both got it right before, so it was
yeah,
like perfectly timed.
right, yeah, it worked out for us as well, and it wasn't so bad. I mean, because we had all the shots and all that, it was like 3 days of it was like, oh man, like the flu. Like I don't want to do nothing. My throat's killing me, but I never got a terrible fever or just was almost like a very, very bad cold
Yeah,
or kind of like the flu. But then after that, then the recovery took a while. You're weak and you kind of, for about a couple of weeks.
yeah, yeah. That's never easy too, especially if you're a kind of person who likes to be doing things all the time. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get over it.
yeah, you do.
So are you so you have kept up. It's clear to me you've kept up with your relationships a lot. Like you keep up with your friends. I'm going to jump in with one person I have to just give a little shout out to.
Yeah,
Jason Ritter, when I had him on my show a few years ago, one of the reasons he agreed to do it and was like, "Yeah, I'll do the show," is because you had been on the show and he adores you. So, Joan of Arcadia.
yeah, I adore him too. Well, and also, there was a thing that happened. His father passed away while we were doing the show, and
Oh.
literally he was on the set when he got the call saying, "You better come down to the hospital. There's a problem." And I remember of course, they gave him a few days off. When he came back to work, I remember I had him come into my trailer, and I was in my, I was probably, okay, whatever year that was. I was certainly in my late 50s, and he was like 20. I think he was 23. And he came in my trailer, and I just told him, I said, "I want to tell you something. I was 23 years old when my father died, the exact same age you are." I said, and I think I was around 57. I said, "I'm 57 now. That's how old my father was when he died, which was
Oh.
probably pretty close to what John was." I said, "So I just want to let I can relate. I can relate to exactly where you are right now. You know, my father died suddenly too. I was on the road. I was doing the play Hair. I was doing a national tour when my brother called me. He had never been in great health, but it did happen. I didn't expect it. And so we shared that. And then he told me something, which I'm sure he may have told you, that he had just kind of reconciled with his dad prior to that, because there was this whole thing because when they got divorced, his both parents, but he had just reconciled with his father for that past so many, maybe a year, maybe less. And he was just so grateful that he had, because that was the last thing you expect, that that person now is not there. And you don't want to have that regret. Like, oh man, last time I talked to him was a year ago because we had this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he was so grateful for that. And I understand and I get it, because I thought to myself, God, if I'd been estranged from my dad, he would have passed away like that. I'd have felt horrible. That's something you can't
Yeah.
fix that. You got to live with that.
Yeah, no
So,
wonder he has even a bigger place. You have even a bigger place in his heart after that.
yeah, I mean, here I was playing his father on the
Yeah.
show as well, and he's just a beautiful human being. I mean, and I knew his dad a bit, I knew his brother, his sister, his little baby sister at the time. Wow. So anyway, yeah, Jason is,
Yeah.
great,
And he's a
great.
sweet kid. He's like you said. I mean, he's one of the good people. I think there are a
Oh,
lot of good
without
people,
question.
but definitely without question, the minute I met him, I like you just sense it and and the more we talked, the more I was like, yep, good,
Oh
good
yeah,
human being.
and now he's a father. It's so
Yeah.
great. I mean, it's God bless him. Yeah, no, he's I owe him a phone call. I should hook up with him. But that's the thing. We all then go on. We all live our lives. But that was a tight group. that Joan of Arcadia group, Mary Steenburgen and myself and Jason and Michael Welch and Amber. And Amber's got kids now too, Amber Tamlin. So
You just circled back to my question, actually, because I interrupted myself to tell you about Jason. But my question was going to be, clearly, you've maintained friendships over the years and you've known a lot of people, you've gotten close to a lot of people. So, how do you do it? Like, are you somebody are you going to pick up your phone and text somebody and say, hey, let's go meet up? Are you going to call? Are they going to come to you? Like, how do you handle all that?
yeah, and it happens. It's difficult though because first of all, it's hard to make new old friends, and you already got a lot of old friends. It's hard to find room for any more after a while. You know what I mean? So in other words, especially in our line of work, some people work at the same job for 50 years and they're seeing the same people every day, pretty much, and their circle is going to be what it's going to be. In our line of work, almost every other day I was in a different environment, working with different people, different casts, different crew, different blah, blah, blah. So there have become hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. They all can't be your, you know, best friend where you're going to like, hey, let's get together next Thursday. But obviously some make that extra little impact and you have a connection. I think of Andy Garcia with Godfather 3. He and I were the two new guys in the movie. So to this day, we maintain a close relationship because we had that thing together. Like we're in Rome together, saying, "Okay, I guess we're the new guys on this thing," and it's continued on. You know, uh, Joan of Arcadia. I mean, same thing. I mean, I feel very close to all of them, but it'd be difficult for all of us to maintain a consistent because they've got their lives, especially the kids. They got lives, married, children of their own,
Yeah.
all that. But the good thing is we all know we're there for each other at any given moment. So I got a call from Amber today or Jason and said, "Hey, could we get together for? Yeah, let's do it." And those things do happen. Sometimes it's the crew that'll instigate it. The makeup girl. Like what's funny is my makeup girl now in Criminal Minds, called makeup girl. She's the head of makeup department,
Mm-hmm.
but she's the makeup person from Joan of Arcadia. I had nothing to do with that.
Oh,
That's just the way it
cool.
worked out. But here she shows up, and it's like, oh my God. Uh, so because of that, that lit that fire about those days. And we got to get together. Let's call Jason. Let's call Amber. Let's do a little get together. And now we'll probably do that because they'll like that too, to be able to get together with her. You
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah. So you find your spots, you find your ways of doing it. Sometimes your paths then cross again, like I did with her. In other words, with the makeup artist, that all of a sudden you're back. Oh, we're in that same situation again.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing my makeup, and it's like you pick up where you left off. Uh, so I've been, again, there's so many different people that I've had a real blessing to work with. I think of the actors, the actresses that are, you know, from Pacino to Robert Redford to you go down the line doing the Rat Pack with Don Cheadle and Ray Liotta and doing a couple Woody Allen pictures and getting to know Mia Farrow. You know, those are those are I know those are names that to the outside world people would say, "Oh wow, that'd be cool to have met them." And I think, well, yeah, I've been these are people I've worked with and have you know had relationships with in the sense of the time we're working together and enough that we could if we meet up we go, hey, how you doing, how you been, and
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
just nice.
That's like sometimes I feel like I have to pinch myself occasionally because I get to sit down and have really interesting conversations with legends, icons, whatever. So, like, I remember thinking Talia Shire is an example. So, Talia Shire, what a great human being, also. But I remember thinking to myself, how interesting that here I am. We sparked a little friendship. And so I remember we were texting each other. And I remember thinking, this is so weird. Like, never when I was growing up watching The Godfather would I think that I would be
Oh yeah,
texting
sure.
Talia Shire. What the heck?
Yeah. Well,
Which
you
is
look like you could
cool.
be part of that family.
Yeah. It's funny. People said after that, they were like, you look like she's your mother and you're her daughter.
Yeah, I could see that. I just saw her because they named the street after Francis at Paramount
Oh, right.
a little over a year ago, and so they invited those of us with the association with Francis to be there, which was great. So I was there, Talia was there, Jimmy Kahn was there, he was still alive then,
Yeah.
and it was great for all of us. I think that we were the only three available that were in
Oh,
town
that's it?
at that time. Yeah, from the movie. Like Andy Garcia was out of town at the time. Um, as I recall, I think, yeah, a lot of them had passed away. A lot of the older guys. But it was nice to see Jimmy. Well, I used to see Jimmy Kahn on occasion, though. He had a golf tournament that I used to go play in every year. And but I hadn't seen Talia and I hadn't seen Francis in a while, so it was great to
Yeah,
see
I
them
love
again.
that. It's all about the people. So, and then what I
Yeah,
also think to myself after is that it's not like I'm just, sometimes people will be like, oh, look at that. I saw a picture of you and whoever, like, oh, you got to meet so and so. But it's not about just getting to meet them, it's getting to know them and like really understand who that human
right.
is behind the fame because we're all humans. We all have all those layers. And it's so interesting. So, yeah, I think you've got the whole perspective thing like nailed down.
I hope so. Like I say, I've been at this a long time and I've been alive a long time. So it's like, if I don't get it now, I don't know. When am I gonna get it?
Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot more coming though. Judging by your mom and your attitude, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
hope
this is just
so.
the beginning.
Whatever. I'm game for whatever the ride is. Wherever we are on the ride, I'm in.
Yeah. So let me ask you one more question before we
Yeah,
wrap up. I know you have to get back to your editing. So
right.
I saw also, I think last time I'd asked you about social media. Are you doing your own social media? I see all these little videos. No,
No,
you don't do them,
no.
right?
No, in fact, I don't even look at them. I don't know what's out. I trust my assistant's been with me for 22 years now, and he knows me pretty well. And I know I have to have that presence. Just you do, for whatever reasons things happen. You want to but like that Twitter that you saw of the
Yeah.
family, I did that. But
Oh,
that was maybe my second Twitter I've done
tweet. It's
this
called a tweet.
year. Oh,
It's called a
tweet.
tweet.
That was and it took me a while to figure out how to do it. I went because the only reason I did it because he was my assistant was visiting his family in Kansas City and he was out of town, and I thought I could do this. So I found a picture and I wrote the thing, but it took me a while. And if I would have called my daughter, she would have helped me. But I thought I could do this, Joe. Grow up, because I know Dan had set it up that I should be able to do it myself. But I no, I don't. I don't look at it. I certainly don't look at it. I never read, and I
Yeah.
tell people that want to reach me that I know. I said, look, you either have to call me, text me, or email me. Those I respond to. I won't. I don't look at Facebook. I don't look at Twitter. I
Mm,
don't look at TikTok. I don't look whatever the hell these other things are. I just don't. And I'm not saying they're bad, but I just can't do it. It's not. I'm past that. I mean, I just can't. It's too late for my mind for me to jump in. And at times I tried when I initially looked at it, I thought it's overwhelming. I'll get lost in this for the rest of the day.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just don't want to do that. It's
But
like
by the
opening
way, though,
up
you
Pandora.
did that tweet. You did the tweet, though. You were able to figure it out, and you did
I
that
did, I
birthday
did,
tweet.
because it was important because she was 99, and I thought it was these are people I really love, and it was her birthday, and I thought I got to do this. I have to
Yeah.
do it today. It has to be on today, so I got to do it.
Right.
But I didn't even look to see if it made it. I had to have people call me,
It
or
made it.
somebody sent me email said, "Hey, I saw that. Who is that? Is that your mother-in-law?" And I had to write back, "Oh no, 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 that's my friend's mother." So I was glad to hear that it made it out there because I didn't even know that it had made it out there. But no, I don't look at social media, and I have mixed feelings even about social media. I just think it's there's a power to it that I think a lot of it should be more earned, or at least people should be intelligent enough to realize that just because it's out there and that maybe a person has millions of followers, it doesn't mean they're an authority on anything, or that their opinion shouldn't
Yeah.
mean a goddamn bit of difference. You know what I mean?
Truth.
So I'm thinking, please, this whole thing about fake news and this what's fake and what isn't. I'm thinking just because a guy puts it out there doesn't mean it's true. So I think in the old days, at least, you had to be Walter Cronkite, you had to earn it. And whether you liked him or not, you had to respect that this is a guy that, has all these resources to try to get all the facts and then tell you about it. If you want to get it from other places, go ahead. But the fact that you can just tap your phone and get Joe Blow from Kokomo who's telling you, oh no, no, you should be doing this and that, or this guy's bad and you're good. And well, no. So I don't even want to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know,
But
if, if,
here's what I think it's good for. Like, so who is it? Dan, you said, is doing your social
Dan,
media.
yeah,
So Dan must be taking these little video clips of you, like when you were directing last week. I saw these clips on Instagram where there's little reels where you're talking to the camera about what you're doing on set.
Yeah, and and the reason is too because Paramount Plus wants us to kind of do that. So
Yeah.
so Dan knows enough that I'm not going to do it. So I mean, he'll take that responsibility and make that happen, so we can at least get that out there,
Yeah.
and
And
that's
those
okay. And
were
I
fun.
understand. You're right. Those are no, and I do want. My wife was a publicist for a while too, for a theater
Oh.
company in Chicago years ago. So I understand. That's why I'm doing this. Look, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
there are guys that, as you know, there are a lot of fairly big name actors who they don't want to do anything, which I never could quite understand because I think, look, you're in a public profession.
Yeah.
People kind of, for better or worse, they like that stuff, and if you're doing something you're proud of, you should be able to publicize it, let them know about it, and to do that whole thing of like, no, 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 no. I think you're in the wrong racket.
I know.
You know what I
I
mean?
know. I'm going to tell you another name of somebody who I talked to and made a great connection with a few times, Danny Aiello, before he left us.
Oh yeah, God bless Dan. Yeah, we did a movie. In fact, you should check out this movie. You'll love it because not many people have seen it. It's called Off Key.
I don't know
We
that.
made it in Europe. Me, Danny Aiello, and George Hamilton was made. It was a Spanish movie made in mostly in Madrid and Paris. But we shot it in English, but it's big budget. We played these three opera tenors, but not the three tenors, three other tenors. I play the Spanish tenor, Danny plays the Italian tenor, George plays the French tenor, and we're the successful trio. And then we break up. This all happens like in the opening credits. Like the biggest thing in the world, we break up, and now we're coming together like a few years later for my daughter's wedding because my daughter is marrying George, and my ex-wife is now married to Danny's character. So it's like that. It's almost like a French farce, but it's very funny. It's one of these movies. I guess it got a lot of play in Europe. It never really, you know, came out here much, if at all. But it's called Off Key, and we had the best time on it, Danny and George Hamilton and myself. And you
Off
love it
key.
because it's one of those movies. It's just you can show it to your grandmother and anybody. It's just funny. It's just a funny movie, and,
Oh, I'm all
and
over that. That is
a
exactly
feel
what I
good
need.
movie. It's a feel good movie. It's like Mad 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 World type movie.
All right.
Anyway,
I will
but
look
yeah,
for that for
Danny.
sure. So Danny, just he had the right attitude, the whole thing, such a zest for life. Like he just loved people. People loved
Right,
him. He was also
right.
insecure though. I feel like I don't get a lot of
Oh
vibe
yeah,
of insecurity from you at all, but he had the insecurity as well as the feelings
that
that
was
I feel.
Danny. Yeah, he had a little neurosis that way. Hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, yeah. How are you, honey? How kids doing? Yeah, Danny, I yellow movies. How you doing? And, Danny was Danny.
Danny was Danny. I loved him. He was great. One of my favorites. But I remember him saying something like that too. Like he sees people who don't want to acknowledge or be bothered by fans at all. And he was like, that's who we are where we are because
Yeah,
of that. So,
exactly. They
yeah.
pay the freight. I mean, they're picking up my salary. You know what I mean? So come on. I mean,
Yeah.
people stop me on the street and go, "Oh man, David Rossi, I love you, man." I go, "Well, thank you." "Well, yeah. Can we take a picture?" "Yeah, I'll take a picture. I don't care." There must be a billion pictures of me with people on the internet. On those things, but because I
That's
don't
good.
care, I'll take. Yeah. I mean, I'm not instigating it. They are. But if they want to take a picture, they put it out there. What do I care?
Right.
You know,
Because
that's
also,
great.
when it must be hard too. I always think about this. Every single interaction that you have with somebody who you don't know, they know you or of you. So it's like they'll remember that interaction with you
Of course.
forever and they'll share it with other people
That's right.
too. It's like there's really
And
not
if
much
it's a
leeway
and if it's a negative interaction, they'll remember that too. So that's what
for
I'm saying.
sure.
A guy comes up to you and says, "Hey, can we take a picture?" No, 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 get away. I don't want to be bothered. If you do something like that, you've now created, wow, okay. That person tells that person tells that person. And it's like if that doesn't bother you, you don't care, you don't feel that God bless you. But why would you do that? You know what I mean? Especially when somebody's looking at you with that thing of, because I get it. You're their fantasy come to life. They've only seen you on a screen this big or at the
Yeah.
movies, and now they're seeing you in person. It's like, I get it. Okay. I feel I was they were all sports figures. You meet a baseball player that I admired, be like, oh my God, you're like a god to me.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly. But I guess it's probably easier for some people than it is for others who are maybe a little bit more introverted or something like
Yeah,
that.
I get it. No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's perspective
But you
again.
can still be polite, even if you do that. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you have to take a picture with everybody or sign every autograph. I mean, like Paul Newman never signed autographs, never
Uh-huh.
did any of that stuff, but that's his prerogative. But I think he made it clear that just he's not going to do it. So, all right.
Yeah, I just think it's so easy also to be nice to me. I mean, it's in my nature, I guess, but to me, it's like, what is so? I feel like it would be harder to be like
Exactly.
rude or mean or whatever else. I can't even imagine being like that. So, like, it's not so hard to be nice.
No, you're right. It is easier to be nice.
All right, so did you like that talk? I'll give you a little backstory. When I first talked to Joe in, I thought it was 2018, but it may have been 2019, it didn't go that well. In fact, I use that interview as an example when people ask me what some of my toughest interviews have been. I give one or two other people's names, and then I say, and my talk with Joe Mantegna, it has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with me, I don't think. It's because I was the last stop on a very busy, nonstop 2-day press tour when he and Kirsten Vangsness from Criminal Minds were promoting the last season. They were on the Today Show together, the Megyn Kelly Show, like all these shows, and then they came to me dead last. So I think that his family was waiting for him. He was celebrating his daughter's birthday, and so maybe it was just kind of like, all right, is this really necessary right now? So anyway, I was really looking forward to this talk because it was a chance to redeem myself and make it one of my best interviews ever. What do you think? Did I succeed? Drop a comment. For more behind the scenes of my talk with Joe Mantegna, make sure you're following me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm Kara. Thanks for watching. See you soon.